dollars are not finding it easy anymore to do business with China using the Chinese currency. Let me give you an instance. Now, they are saying in a bid to reduce cost of importation, they have to revert to payments for their exports in US dollars so as to avoid extra costs of converting to dollars the yuan that they have received from exportation to Nigeria and all of that. Of course, we've been hearing about the ongoing trade war between the China and US and all of the tariffs that are being consistently raised and all of that. So I'm asking the question, what's really the implication of this trade war, between the US and China on Nigeria's economy, as it were?
It's very simple. The exchange is dollars. We're switching over to yuan. And the effect is that the dollars will become competitive with yuan. And there's no government in the world who is enjoying that benefit, who is enjoying that opportunity, and you switch over to another currency that will not raise the bar to reply. It is normal. It's part of the international politics. And in this case, the challenge is that for Nigeria, depreciation is setting in for the yuan against the dollar. So, and when a currency depreciates, it's just like the naira to dollar at the time. What you buy at 10 naira will automatically go to 20 naira. Same way for the exporters as well. So it's better for them to go for the higher currency at a stable rate than go for the one that will become devaluated over time, because there's speculation on the table that in the next few weeks, months or thereabout, it's going to depreciate by 10%. So a reasonable importer will check that against his cost, check his line items, and by the time you look at that and you look at the ease of process, transaction time and everything, then you go for which one is easier for you, which is the case in this matter now.
Okay. And an average man would say Nigeria should lay allegiance with China, seeing that 80% of our imports comes from China anyways. But then the Chinese are changing Nigerians who are, doing business now, because they look at the dollar rate for what we're getting, and then they convert that to their own yuan equivalent. Does that make sense?
When the federal government made the announcement early in the middle of this year.
I think April.
April, that's early this year. I think Nigerians were so excited.
Yeah.
And I wasn't one of them. I wasn't one of those who were applauding it, because I knew even those who have yuan are not trading with it. Do you understand? They look at what is happening to the dollar to benchmark their own currency.
Sure.
Now, how many countries in Nigeria, how many countries in Africa are doing that right now? How many countries in the world are trading with China with their yuan? How many countries? And I look at it and I said, look, because in trade, America is still one of the superpowers. They may not be manufacturing all those things. Do you understand? But they have a major influence in how those international trade go around the world.
But China does have a big economy as well.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Now, would China say to South Africa, who is obviously the biggest economy in Africa right now, would they tell them that we want to trade with you, with yuan? Would they say that? No, they will not. Because they've given us so much loan that they want to control us. And it was part of the agreement that some of these things I'm doing for you, this is how I want you to relate with me. And Americans, being what they are, they have to throw a spanner in the wheel.
Of course.
Do you understand? And make it not work. And because we also, as a country, we didn't also look at other areas and limit our focus and say this is what we want. Because as we speak today, we are still in business with the Americans. Do you understand? We are still in business with them. So we should also consider the other side to sign an agreement. And that's why I'm very excited that Mr. President has refused to sign this African trade agreement, because he has to study it very well. But at the end of the day, will not come back and bite us. on this China thing, we didn't look at it very well. We didn't look at it because at the end of the day, government does not import. Government does not import. Individuals do business. Individuals do business, and all these things will come back to the individual. And all what importers are facing today, the government is not feeling it. Because they are not the one, they signed that agreement for the individual businessmen in Nigeria. So I am not part of the people. What I wanted to say earlier is that I wish you brought one of the importers to this table and tell us the impacts of this
the swap
friction
that
we are seeing.
Okay, the friction. Okay, but do you think there's any benefit in this ongoing China-US war?
When you in economics, you want to have more than one model.
Sure.
Because if you run a model in economics and it's working, you want to run another one parallel. You must always have an alternative. Yeah, the issue of Naira to Yuan, especially with the business growth within Nigeria and China, I think is strategic and is relatively good. Yes, there might, and in doing such, the question is, if Nigerians are actually exporting to China, then we are going to be reaping the benefit of this now, because which is the tail end of it. If that was completed, then Nigerians will actually be the beneficiary of it at the end of the day. Because when things happen like this, you have, as a government, you consider your country first in any deal you sign.
Of course.
But if it's on the other way, then you begin to worry. One of the factors why we're looking at this deal as bad is because Nigeria is not exporting finished product enough. Yes. Because the same way China is we're importing from China. We should.
Also,
that's why we're saying that
trade balance. There's no trade balance.
It must be a value-driven economy. We must not be exporting again raw material from any part of the world. We must add value to it. Make it smart. Make it a product. Then export to them. Then we can gain, because this is the best time for Nigeria to actually gain. If Nigeria was actually exporting to China, this is the best time to make a lot of money for Nigerians. But because that is not the case, then it's a major challenge.
That's what I'm saying. When you are signing an agreement like that, you should put all of those things in the table.
Nigeria devalued, when Nigeria devalued the dollar, people who are exporting were smiling to the bank. People who are importing were frowning. Of course, these are measures by government to control and to regulate. And then the benefit of that is the government of any period must ensure that the citizens' interest, the interest of the country,
be protected.
Okay, all right. You were saying something.
Yes, you see, like I said, like my colleague said, you see, before you sign a deal, you must do a trade balance. Now, if I sign this, what am I getting? Is it going to be? Is it not going to be mutually beneficial? Because at this point, that's why Mr. President, like I said, African Treaty, he has refused to sign it, because if we sign it right now, we are going to be at the loose end. We will be holding the short end of the stick, because Nigeria is not exporting any refined product. What we are exporting is just crude, cocoa, crude oil, nothing. We are only buying all the cars. What we do in Nigeria is to assemble them. All the components of a car is not manufactured here. So at the end of the day, you hold the short end of the stick. So what the government should do for me is that before you go into such an agreement, you look at yourself and say, you give yourself a time limit and say, from now till now, what can I do to also benefit from this agreement? Before you go into it. Because if you don't have such plan, at the end of the day, another government will come in and pull out.
I mean, it's a whole lot of issues. It's not the best of time, excuse me, for Nigerian importers, as we speak. Because in the first place, the currency swap was supposed to bring some sort of ease into doing, business. We hear about policies being reformed and policies being but at the end of the day, our business climate, has it benefited from all of those policies? And another thing is, we do have a Lagos Chamber for Commerce and Industry. You understand? You expect them to, what's the word now? Explore business opportunities, especially when you have diplomatic visits from people from Europe and all of that. We don't get anything from all of those things.
All these agreements
we don't get anything.
Have always been put in place by the government to facilitate loan agreement. You see, it's not just for our beneficiary. I'm telling you, I'm coming, sir. You see, like I usually say, if I come to you, like they used to do in the past, in the time of my fathers, if you need a loan, you take your younger daughter who's beautiful along to a rich man and say, please, I need a loan. And the man say, we can actually do this thing, I say, so that it could be mutually beneficial. I love this, your daughter. He say, she's not married yet. When you give me the loan, I become your in-law. Now, whatever the man that gave you the loan does with your daughter, you don't have a say. Because you will actually tell your daughter, I bought you. He didn't marry you because all the marriage right and the rest of it was
not here. I get you. All right, let's look at someone reacting here. Phil Arabame is back, and he says Nigerians must pitch tent with American dollars for now because it still holds the ace as far as international trading is concerned. I think it makes sense because if at the end of the day, I have to convert the yuan to dollars,
even the Chinese will look at what the dollar is doing.
Exactly.
To take their own currency.
Yeah.
The problem.
They always check the dollar equivalent anyways,
The honest truth is, the world agreed at a point in time to the Bretton Woods Convention. And they all agreed to a currency of exchange, which is dollars. So, of course, the superpower, which is America, that was on the basis of which that was established. China is expected to take over the economy of the world, and that's why they're coming gradually to introduce all this. But Nigeria's strategic agreement with them, with this yuan swap, I think in relation to what they're doing in terms of investment flow, because one of the factors of signing agreement at times is a bit. At times is to get more foreign FDI into your economy, and then you want them to support you and you want your economy to grow. But at the same time, you must go and sign any agreement with your wise eye open, and you must put Nigeria first.
Of course.
In everything.
China cannot conquer the world trade with Africa. They cannot do what they do to Africa to Europe.
All right. There should be division of labor in this trading. The monopoly of the U.S. is too dominant. Of course, U.S. is a super force when it comes to the world economy. All right, more people are here. Still reacting to the police story. All right, we have to move it along because of time to our last topic of the day, fuel subsidy issues. The marketers are lamenting unpaid subsidy arrears, and they say is affecting their operations. Depot and Petroleum Products Marketers Association yesterday said unpaid subsidy arrears of over 650 billion naira by the federal government poses a huge financial challenge to the downstream operations. And they say settlement of debt owed them will save their assets from being taken over by banks. Already, about 60% of marketers have been forced out of business as banks have taken over their assets due to their inability to pay back funds borrowed. It's a lot on the subsidy issue. Well, we're talking subsidy issue for as long as I can remember.
First and make it short.
All right, go ahead.
Jump in. Make it very short.
Yes.
Very short. I think I listened to Kiyamo. That means someone somewhere is lying to us that federal government is not paying any subsidy. That what they are doing is NNPC do a deal with the oil marketers that is not coming from federal government. Now I'm asking, where is this one coming from?
Okay, take it from my colleague here. The question is, are we still in the regime of paying subsidy? The government must tell us, are we still in the regime of paying subsidy? That's number one. Number two is established in the news now that marketers have been owed. And one of the ways to kill an economy is for the government to owe domestic and do not pay. And then the same government will go use AMCON, use the bank, use all forces of regulatory authority to arm them. Where are we going? How is the economy going to grow like this? It's not possible. So my appeal to the government is, please, you told us you're not paying subsidy. Now, you're coming behind the back doors. The people are actually telling us that subsidy is existing.
Yeah.
Please pay them their subsidy.
I mean, let me cast your mind back. On the 18th of this month, October, the chairman of Major Oil Marketers Association, Andrew Bodume, said, and I quote, that the federal government is owing them over 130.7 billion naira as unpaid subsidy arrears.
Now, my question is, because subsidy was one of the key campaigns
for this administration. We all know that. Yeah, we all know that.
And they said it was criminal for government at that time to pay subsidy, that they will end it. They didn't say they will rework it. They said they will end it. Now, this government has failed in that aspect. They don't just end it, they are owing. And that means fuel scarcity is imminent. Is imminent. And don't forget, we are gradually getting to the year time. So when these people come out to tell you, means that fuel subsidy is imminent. And federal government may actually bend over backward to increase another fuel price.
Wow, it's a whole lot. And again, you know, this issue of subsidy, I think as a Nigerian, I'm tired of talking about it, really. First of all, when we're paying, it did not translate into better living conditions for the average Nigerian.
And we are paying
Do you understand?
petrol. 1 liter is 145
naira
across Nigeria.
I have
yes.
a question to ask, please.
Go ahead.
Allow me. The question is,
Who is going to answer it?
the government of the day is going to answer it. The question is, from 90 naira to 145, that differential of about 50 naira, what is it doing? What does it mean? Initially, we're told it's a
It
tax.
was 86 naira, please.
Later, sorry.
86 to
Yeah.
145.
To 145. So you can imagine where is that differential going? That's number one. Number two, where this subsidy in question, who are we paying to? That's number two. Number three, the importers have said you are owing us a lot. Is it a backlog from the previous government, or is it a present government backlog?
Exactly.
Please,
We need to be
do
clear.
not- See, we want Nigeria economy to grow because Nigerians are suffering. The suffering in Nigeria is too much.
All right, our time is fantastically up at this point. I'll conclude by reading this last one sent in by Phil Arabame again. And he says, we've been fed with lies from the pit of hell by this government on subsidy. All right, I think we conclude on that note. But we're begging, please, you should pay the marketers the backlog arrears, whatever
Fuel
the
crisis
English.
is imminent. It's
What
looming.
because Christmas is close, and you know we can't put Nigerians through another, you know, period of pressure, so to
The
say.
the
Yeah.
benchmark for
Yeah.
a liter of petrol by this government is 200. Bet me. What they are giving you is a bet.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Godio
Thank
Foster.
you.
Thank you, Comrade Adebi. That's it for today, people. Thank you for being a part of it. Tomorrow at 12, do join us again. Enjoy your day.